Hi all, it's Jess from Sunflower Dairy, and it's a beautiful day and I'm out here going to plant some garlic. So our temperatures have been going up and down and the ground has been freezing and then unthawing, and it's time that I get the garlic in the ground, because if I wait too much longer the ground's just going to be frozen for the rest of the season. So I need to get started and get this garlic in the ground. So if you want to plant garlic, you just need a clove of garlic in each spot where you're going to plant your garlic. But to get your garlic cloves, you're going to start with a garlic bulb. You're going to break it up into the individual cloves. Like I said, you just need one clove. You don't want to plant the whole bulb, because then it's going to be taking, all those cloves are going to take up all the space from the other plants if you plant a whole bulb of garlic. So you just want to plant one clove, and I'll show you here these. So garlic wants to grow. Even though this was still in bulb form, let me see, I just saw one. Where did it go? There it is. Alright, so even though this was in bulb form, you can see those little green ends. So this garlic is actually starting to grow already. And then on the bottom of it, so that's the bottom. So those are roots right there at the bottom. And then that's the top where the green is starting to come out. So you always want to have the point sticking up when you plant your garlic, and then you want the bottom where the roots will come out down. So make sure all of your cloves are all broken up out of the garlic bulb, and let's get started. So I usually plant garlic a couple inches apart, just so it has enough room to bulb up. But I use a tool. This is a dibbler. If you look up dibbler tool for planting garlic or flower bulbs, you will probably have this pop up. So this is great for just, you stick it right in the ground and then you move it in a circle, and then you'll be able to plant your garlic. And depending on how deep you want it, you can, stick it down to the depth that you want for your garlic. I do usually, so you measure, the size of your garlic clove, and then you want to do 2 of those. So what about that? And so that's probably about 2 inches, I'd say. But yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and get this planted. So I'll let you all watch me do that. And so with your garlic, you want to plant it in the fall, and then it will overwinter, and then it will start growing in the spring. So, and then it will grow all spring into the late summer, and then when your garlic starts dying back on the tops, when it starts yellowing, then that usually means that it's time to dig up the garlic. Alright, so like I said, pointy side up, and then the flat spot where the roots come out, that goes down. So like I said, I'm doing about 2 inches, so whatever the size of the clove is, because if you're planting, I'm planting average size garlic, but if you're planting like big elephant garlic, just double the size of your clove, the depth of how deep that's going to be planted, and you'll be pretty good. And that's like with any kind of seed, because you don't want it too shallow, but you also don't want it so deep that that seed won't have enough energy to grow up out of the soil. So just double the depth of the size of the seed and you should be good. So I planted this bed with garlic last year, and that was where most of my garlic was planted. You can plant a lot of garlic in a small space because it doesn't need a ton of room. It just needs enough room for the size of a bulb of garlic. And you know, that's just a couple inches depending on the variety, because like I said, elephant garlic, that takes up a bit more space, but for the most part, garlic does not take up a lot of room. You can even plant it with other crops. If you don't have a ton of space, just, you know, do it around the perimeter of your garden where, you know, there wouldn't really be room for other stuff, but garlic would most likely do just fine in the corners of your gardens. So I'm going to be filling up this whole garden bed with garlic, and that should be a good bit of my garlic, but I also as well plant over in the main garden garlic in the corners like I was talking about, just because, you know, if you have an extra corner or spot in the garden, why not just, you know, put something there that, you know, it would be just empty space anyway, so you might as well be growing something in that space where you couldn't be growing anything else. Yeah, this is definitely the time that I needed to get my garlic in the ground, because if I waited any longer, because the top layer of the ground is just starting to freeze, and if I waited any longer, this would have been way too frozen. So just in time, this garlic is being planted, but I am zone B, 5B, 6A, so if you're in a warmer zone, you're probably still fine to plant some garlic, pretty much as long as the ground isn't frozen. If the ground isn't frozen and you can still, you know, make a spot for your garlic to grow, then it should be fine for you to still plant your garlic. But if the ground is already freezing, then might be a little too late. But if you can get a spot all prepared and get your garlic in the ground, then it should be just fine. And when I am finished, I'm going to be putting some compost and stuff like that on this garden bed, because even though it's not spring, this is another crop that I'm putting into this garden bed. So every time you plant another round of crops in your garden bed, you want to refresh that soil, because a lot of times whatever was growing in it before would have taken a lot of the nutrients and stuff that plants need. I mean, they might do okay, but they won't do the best if you know, you want stuff out of your soil, and if you want stuff out of your soil, you need to put stuff into your soil. So soil health is definitely how you're going to have healthy plants. Alright, so I have about 4 rows here planted. So like I said, I doubled the size of the clove, put the dibbler in the ground, twisted around, put that garlic clove right in there, pointy side up, and then the flat root side down, and then I just take my hand and cover them. And then, like I said, I'm going to just take a layer of compost and just put it over the top of this, and then this garlic will be all good to go. In the spring, I should start seeing little green garlic tops popping up, and then later next summer, I'll be able to harvest this. All right, all, thank you for watching and have a blessed day.